Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I can hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Welcome at the buzzers.
Welcome, welcome, everyone. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. Hopefully, everybody had a good day today. Let us know how you did in the chat. But welcome to At the Buzzer. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we could take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay. I'm the Top Step Performance Coach since June of 2023, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. You are all our chat, our audience. Let us know how you did today. It looks like we sound good. Small green day for Rich and Bedside. Should have trusted the trade and let it work out, but cut it early. Isn't that the dilemma as a trader? We get in a good one. We want to hold on. It's like catching fish, right, Coach Paul? You get one on the line, got to reel it in.
You got to reel it in.
Got to reel it in.
Well, you know what they call a hungry hunter? A vegetarian.
That's pretty good.
But
That is pretty
yes,
good.
but review that and wonder, and identify that why you got out.
Why did I get out of my
And
trade?
you have to identify that and understand what it is that you're not doing. That's the only way to improvement. We talked about journaling. You'll find out how important it is.
Awesome stuff. If you may have heard the announcement today, MP was on Fast Markets back to funded. I got a question in the chat. Knew I was going to get some questions in the chat, Boomer Brian.
Yes.
I don't know how I knew I was going to get those questions in the chat, but thank you for tuning in. But why does back to funded cost more than activating a new account? Most people are looking at that as, going into that new account and you're going to pass it on the first try, right? If we look at the stats, and I don't choose the prices at all, but if I could just, use my imagination, if you look at the stats, most people are not going to pass that combine on the first try and rack up a couple of resets while doing so. It's pretty much in line with industry standard for straight to funded accounts, but of course, this is Topstep. Topstep was going to do it its own way, and what I really love is the limitation on how many times you can do it. Right, so you can reset an XFA twice, and after that, it's okay. We're not going to keep taking your money if things are not working. Right, go back to the start. Pay us less if you want to continue trading with Topstep, but something's not working. You need to address that. So I think it is probably the best. And maybe I'm a homer, maybe I'm biased, but sometimes it's okay to be biased. I think it's the best direct to funding opportunity out there because of the rules that we have at Topstep, right? There are no consistency targets once you get into a funded account. There are payout caps. MP talked about that. $5,000 a week, or you could still take out 20,000. You can max out $20,000 a month out of an XFA, and there's no consistency target. So if you make $18,000 in one day, and then every other day in the month you make $150, you can get your payout. So, yep. A lot of other places have consistency rules. You can't make more than 20% of your money in one given day. And that just, are we looking for windfall profits every single day? No. But some days are you just going to hit it and, the market give you more than you were looking for potentially. We don't want to penalize traders for that. So, right now, I think it is the best offer out there. Happy I'm here. Happy I'm here. Some people in the chat saying also you're paying for your time. How long does it take you to get back into a combine? What I will say is don't rush it, right? If you go back to funded, don't come out of the gate just YOLOing that account because it does cost you more. It does cost you more, and you only get to do it twice. 150K is going to cost you almost $800, which, are you paying for your time? Great, but don't just YOLO that account because throwing away $800 doesn't feel great. Does not feel great. What are your thoughts on it, Coach Paul?
I think it's a great idea. Um, First of all, you don't have to go back into your combine and build the way back up. Um, and it's not what everybody wants, but it's not supposed to be. I mean, you have to earn this. This isn't just given. So I think it's a great idea. I like the way they did it. Um, I think it's going to result in a lot more payouts over time for a lot of traders. So I welcome it, and good job, Michael.
Good job to the team at Topstep over here. All right, let's get into these markets. We had some news out earlier this morning. Also, we got Salesforce earnings. Salesforce just released their earnings, CRM. Maybe you're wondering why we're talking about Salesforce. Salesforce is 0.4% of the S&P. The 36th heaviest weighted company in the S&P just reported earnings. Earnings per share came out $2.91 versus estimates of $2.56. So looking pretty good there. Revenues 10.24 billion, up 9.8%. Estimates were 10.14 billion. Their service revenue is up. Subscription revenue is up. Looks like good across the board for Salesforce. I'm going to pull up a Salesforce chart really quick, see if we get any market reaction to that. Uh, Looks like a quick knee jerk to the upside and then back to downside. Let me change that. Oh, yeah. Salesforce selling off a little bit here, down about $15 or 5% off that print. Those are pretty good numbers, but we'll see after their earnings call, giving out forward guidance and things like that, how their business is affected. I'd have to think that Salesforce is probably not affected much by tariffs, uh, being a software company, but who knows? It might be.
Well, I don't know, but um, I don't think it would be. I mean,
Yep.
it's not. They're not producing anything except for data. Sorry, I don't want to insult anyone over there, but they're not a manufacturing company.
Correct. Correct. We got a comment in the chat says not a good idea. $800 to get access to 2K. Absolutely insane. Make sure you read. Make sure you read. The access to 2K is for a 50K account, and that does not cost $800. The $800 is for, or $788 actually with tax, depending on where you are, is for the 150K account, which is access to $4,500. Uh, so make sure you read the entire thing. And also, Coach Paul, is anyone coming to your house and telling you, give me $800 for your back to funded account? This is a stick up. Give me your money for a back to funded account.
No, I don't answer a doorbell. So
Right? You do not, it's only an option, guys. It's only an option. So if you don't want to use it, if you feel like it's overpriced, do not pay for it. Uh, and you may not hear other people who represent or partnering with law firms tell you that, right? Hey, buy this account for 37 cents. Buy 600 of them. You don't feel like it's worth it, don't pay for it. But for the people that do, they're going to and use it to your advantage, just like everything else. All right, let's get into these markets. We did have some news come out a little bit earlier. We had Jolt's job openings coming at 7.181 million. Forecast was 7.38 million. Factory orders came in at negative 1.3%. Forecast was negative 1.3%. So in line with expectations over there. Coach Jay's tip of the week: make sure you read. Yeah, I mean, reading is fun. Reading is fundamental. We have some news out later in the week. Tomorrow we have jobless claims and the U.S. trade balance, as well as S&P Services PMI, Composite PMI, ISM Services PMI as well. And then on Friday we do have U.S. unemployment rate and non-farm payroll. So a lot of news left this week. Coach Paul, anything you got on the news? I think I lost your audio there, Paul.
that's because I muted myself. Numbers came in line. Nothing out of the ordinary. I think very steady day. News-wise, no wild tweets. So I've nothing to add on the news front.
Pretty calm day on the news front. Here we go. Apple plans to roll out an AI search feature in Siri next year to rival OpenAI. Apple and Google reach a deal to evaluate Gemini model for new Siri. So Apple and Google partnering up on AI. 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts. And today to the downside, we had RBOB gasoline futures down 1.77%, lean hogs down 1.81%, and crude oil down 2.56% for our biggest percentage mover to the downside. To the upside, we have natural gas up 1.99%. Platinum up 2.36%, and micro Ethereum futures, our biggest percentage mover to the upside at 4.84%. To talk about our big four, we already mentioned crude down 0.25 or down 2.56%. The S&P down 0.57%. Gold up 0.89%, making new all-time highs, and the Nasdaq up 0.81%. I have a Nasdaq chart up here, Coach Paul. What are we looking at here on? We looked at the daily yesterday. Let's look at the daily today. What are we looking at on the daily? And then we'll go down to a 30
Held
minute.
that 50 moving average as a low again.
Yep.
Still can't really. I mean, it being up today, 200. Most of the half of that came after the close yesterday. Very stayed, but still holding the upside. I think if it gets any momentum, we could rip higher, but I'm a little concerned that it's not really bouncing well. We're still inside, settled inside yesterday's range. Um, that heavy volume from yesterday, we didn't match, so we didn't find matching buying. I'm cautious here. How about you?
Yeah, nice bounce off that 50 moving average, but it would be nice to start to see some buying above yesterday's high, up above that 500 level in the Nasdaq, where we continue to see rejection up there. It'd be nice to see some buying above here. Uh, SL Hunter wants to know how we're trading right now. We're not. We're just reviewing the markets. Markets are closed, or at least Top Step accounts have to be closed. If you're trading a personal account, you can continue to trade, but Top Step accounts need to be closed. But yeah, Coach Paul, it's holding up well, like this market does in an uptrend. Uh, those moving averages are telling us that this is still a pretty strong trend, but we do need to find some new buyers up here above that 500 level. Uh, Day session island bottom, JD is saying. We'll take a look at the 30-minute chart. We go regular trading hours only. Are you seeing an island bottom here, Coach Paul?
Um, an island bottom? No. An island bottom, the way I understand it, should be a candle or a bar that has no price action on either side of it. It's like on an island. Um, but I don't see that. So we almost had one yesterday, but no, I don't see an island bottom
Okay,
on the 30-minute.
got you.
I don't-
Let's take a look at the 30-minute. And we'll go extended trading hours and take a look at the 30-minute chart here, Coach Paul. So what are we seeing here? Last night, we're right back up at that 200 moving average is where we're seeing that rejection on the daily. That's right
Yeah.
there near that 23,500 level. We're just not seeing any convinced buying above it, right? If we have VWAP from let's put a line here on that 200 moving average. We don't have any volume trading above this level, right? Every time we get up to 23,500s, and of course this is the Nasdaq, so it's going to run that level by 20 points. There is no buying above there. We're seeing rejection. Holding up decently, so decent two-sided trade today. Anything else you got here on the Nasdaq, Coach Paul?
Look at inverted head and shoulders.
Okay,
Um, I think we could settle tomorrow during the day above that 200. I think this could be the pop we've been waiting for. Until then, very subdued trading, but it's well, it didn't get over it or close over it. It is right there, and if you can see, if we'd put in a line chart, head and shoulders becomes a little easier to see. So um, that's a bit friendly. Um, I didn't trade any of it today, so I'd like to buy it tomorrow with the close over the 200.
That may happen tonight. And we do have, again, some more data coming out later in the week. But pushing up against this 200 moving average, the more we test it, the weaker you think that level is going to get, or I think that level is going to get.
Yep.
The 200 moving average at 23,476 in the Nasdaq. Let's take a look at the S&P really quick. Very similar story here, right under that 200 moving average, 64.67. Uh, you know, do we find the buyers to push us above that, or is this going to continue to act as a resistance on a daily? That S&P looking a little bit stronger, closing above that 20-day moving average. What are you seeing here in the S&P,
Uh,
Coach Paul? Anything different
the same.
or the same?
Yeah, but that wick from yesterday morning, that looks it adds a nice story. I think this thing is. That looks a lot more bullish to me.
Yeah, a lot of rejection down there.
Um, Sitting there right at the 20. If we get a trend line from the top, it's pretty acute to the downside. We can get over that. And we should pop to new highs relatively soon.
New highs in the S&P potentially around the corner. We are less than a percentage move away from all-time highs. Let's take a look at the Russell. My best trade of the day today was in the Russell. I want to go down to a shorter time frame chart really quick. We had initially right off the open. Uh, Actually, before we do that, Coach Paul, anything you want to say on the daily chart in the Russell?
Um, that looks cleaner than the others.
It does.
Um, yeah, that looks very friendly. Um, when is it going to go to an all-time high?
We got a little
Boy,
bit. We got a little
it's
work to
gonna
do.
take a Herculean effort, but um, that chart looks very clean to me. I love.
Yes, it does. Holding above that 20-day moving average. Let's take a look at the half an hour. Uh, That short that I took came off of this 200 moving average. On the 30-minute, we can see this white line up here. That is Coach Paul's 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. And pretty strong rejection up there. I'm going to put another line up here at this level, 2368. And, we've talked about this a couple of times, but watching the market's reaction on the candle that hits that moving average uh, could give us a pretty good signal. Now, uh, here's that candle. And if we look at that, so similar to how we look at maybe an opening range, where there was a nice opening range long initially here, but if you were not taking profits off that 200 average or at a 2 to 1, like Coach Paul likes to do, we can measure this, right? We break out of this opening range. Maybe I take a long here, go 2 to 1 with two ATRs. I do get a 2 to 1 pretty much right at that 200 moving average, Coach Paul. Uh, but if I'm not taking profits and I'm thinking, well, this market looks better than all the other equity markets, this needs to continue to break out, then you have a trade that does turn into a loser, or maybe you giving back some profits. But what I saw was this volume candle here. So we had the rejection off that 200, rejection off the 200, and then this highest volume candle that was not higher than the open, but it ended up being the highest volume candle of the day. And then just looking to get short in this candle with risk on the other side. So my short was 2362, risking about $250 going above the high of this candle, and just looking for a 2 to 1 here on the downside, which we did end up getting as well. And just kind of framing my trade off of this volume anomaly at the time. It was a little bit more than $250 worth of risk, but you guys get the idea. It's a pretty nice trade here. The Russell, I don't know how many traders we have trading the Russell, but I think it's a great market, especially for top step accounts. It's not as volatile as the Nasdaq. I know a lot of people default directly to the Nasdaq, uh, but the Russell's a great market to trade. So I got to thank Coach Paul for always bringing it up, making sure we don't forget the Rusty during our pre-market, post-market recap, because it is a great market to trade.
Yeah, so the Rusty, it should not be ignored. It gives some great. It doesn't have that herky jerky motion unless you enjoy it of Nasdaq. But it's interesting to show the difference between a J trade and a continuation trade.
Yep.
This is a great job here, Coach. You had that high volume selling. By the way, that was off the 200 bar moving average, but that is, it's at least twice the average volume. That means something. That's some good heavy selling. Now, a J trade off the high would have been a buying candle. This was a selling candle, but it came off those highs, rejected it, and we didn't move out of that range. That high of that bar held. That's why we get continuation. Nice trade, Coach J.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. The one thing we didn't do, like you said, we didn't get any trading really above 50% of this candle, but volume stayed pretty flat. And this trade, took a little while. Right? It was an hour before we really saw any price action outside of it. But it wasn't risking a whole lot. I don't know that I hold this trade in the Nasdaq. Just with this back and forth overlap, it kind of feels like this trade isn't going to work. It's going to just run the other way. From my experience, it's a lot easier to accept risk when it's not going to cost you a whole lot. What's the tick value in the Russell, Coach? Is it $5 a tick?
$5.
$5. $5. Courtney says ES has not had a 5% pullback in 93 trading days. Interesting.
Really?
Interesting. Rich in Bedside says, would you say a J trade is a reversal trade? It is. Yeah, it is. If we're looking at that reversal, that J trade is a reversal. But remember, and I think like Coach Paul said, this is a pretty good example of it. High volume doesn't always mean reversal, right? It could mean continuation. And in this case, I'm looking at a 3-minute chart, but if we look at a 5-minute or a 1-minute, kind of all the same. There was just a ton of selling that came in this 8:45 Central Time candle. It was all this candle alone.
No.
Whoever was long, maybe they sold it, maybe they took some profits, but they didn't continue to buy. All right. Anything else you got on the equities, Coach Paul? Actually, let's take a look at the S&P. Hasn't had a 5% pullback.
Well, since the mother of all monthly wicks.
Interesting.
Now, with that said, is that out of the ordinary, or is that a record amount of time? Courtney, do you know?
Yes, sir. I mean, here's a 15% pullback in 5 days. Here's another. I mean, this is all March, April, so that was an anomaly itself. We're going back to April 2024 here. Here's a 6% pullback in 15 days. Yeah, Courtney, I'm curious. That's a good question, Coach Paul. Is that an anomaly in the S&P? Are we anticipating a big equity rally if the tariffs are canceled in October? I would say probably if tariffs are canceled. But we got a little bit of time for that. All right. Anything else you got in the equities, Coach Paul?
No, actually, it's a good question. I don't know, but trade your plan day to day. It could be very interesting.
October 14th. October 14th, tariff day, tariff deadline day again.
Tax day. Oh no, that's a different day.
All right. Got a question from Adienka. How does one recover from an $1,800 realized profit and later end the day down 900. Uh, that's a tough one to recover from. You know, ideally, you don't put yourself in that situation, Adiyinka, but what you have to do is separate from it, right? The trading is hard, man. Trading is really hard. I've seen some conversation. I don't know how many traders are on social media and things like that. Some conversation about a trader that a lot of people maybe looked up to on social media. I just want to, let everybody know that trading is extremely hard, right? It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. Um, and we have to think in our best interests most times. Right? If you're up $1,800, realize profits, understand that that is the result of you following your process, hopefully, and you know, lean on your process. Now, if you're giving back that amount of money, you got to ask yourself why you're making some of the decisions that you're making, right? And it's going to be a different answer for everyone, right? So I can't tell you exactly why you're doing that. But what I can tell you is that if you're able to make $1,800, you're able to do something right in these markets. Give yourself the opportunity to succeed at doing this by securing some of those profits. Now, you asked the question, how do you recover from it? Uh, you know, it's going to sound very simple, but you kind of have to not think about it. You have to understand that there are decisions that you can make to prevent you from doing that. If you're trading on TopstepX, X, you can use the risk management features to lock you out at a certain trailing drawdown. But at some point, you have to separate from it and don't try to make that $1,800 back. Right? Just try to make the next good trade, because if you try to make back money that you've given to the market's just going to take more. So try not to put yourself in that position. And I know we look at the charts, everything looks like an opportunity to make money. But Coach Paul, you can, tell me when I'm wrong here. A trader makes $600 on the day, and then they continue to trade, and then they make $1,200. They're like, oh man, this is really good. I'm, reading the markets really well. And then they continue to trade and make $1,800. They're like, oh, I'm about to have the biggest day that I've ever had. Right? Let's hit 2,000, and then maybe we can go for 5,000. And then they lose a trade, and they go from 1,800 down to 1,400. And then their mindset flips, and they start going from, oh, this is $1,400. $1,400 is still a great day. To they go from that to, I need to get back the money I had, so I need to take another trade now. And all the while this is happening, the trade quality is diminishing. Every trade that you take, and it might be a function of the time of day, right? If you're a great opening range trader and you're trading at 11 a.m. Central Time, there is no opening range. There's no volume. There's no momentum. So it might not be you. It's the market's literally not presenting the same opportunity, but you're continuing to press the button. So now I'm down from an $1,800 P&L high to $900. I cut it in half, and I'm completely neglecting the fact that I'm still up $900, Coach Paul, because what? I need to get back to $1,800. So in order for me to do that, I have to take another trade. But because I cut that in half, I need to leverage up now. Has anyone had this experience at all? Am I talking to myself here?
Keep going. Keep going.
Right. So now I'm going to leverage up, and instead of trading, the one contract that I have been trading, I'm going to trade 5, because all it takes is one, and I'm going to get back to that P&L high, get back to $1,800. I'm just going to lock it up for the day. I'll be happy with that. Then I take that trade, and now I'm down 500, and I'm like, oh, what did I just do? I just threw the whole day away. You know, this isn't good at all. I can't accept a losing day. Right? I up 800. I was 1,800. I was down 400 from that P&L high. Still $1,400. That was great. I cannot accept a loss here. And then I go down to 900. And maybe that's a daily loss limit that I have set in the system, or whatever it is. That daily loss limit should not be, use it like a guardrail, right? It's not something that guardrails on the highway, right? They're there to say, hey, you've gone way too far, and, I have to stop you at this point. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to hit that all the time, right? Because there's some damage done if you hit that guardrail while you're driving, right? They got the rumble stripes, the wake up stripes, whatever you want to call them before that. All of that trading before you hit that guardrail, those are your rumble stripes, right? So, hey, if you see things going wrong, start to feel, Hogue calls it venom, you're sweating, you feel like you're like in this serious competition with the markets, it's you got to go get your money back. If you're ever in that mode, just lock it out. Just lock it out. You got to get it back in blood. The market's gonna win every time. So just be aware of that. Try not to put yourself in that position. But if you did, learn from it, journal it, and get back at it tomorrow.
Wow. That was the description. And I would say, follow it up with welcome to the club. Don't feel
Yeah.
like you feel like a fool, right?
Yep.
It rips your soul out. Well, that's trading. So we've all done it. So how do you recover from it? Well, first of all, define why you were up 1800. Was it because you had a plan and it was following your plan? And was it because you were over leveraged? Because there's two sides to being over leveraged. We don't want to admit it when we're up big, but being over leveraged can turn on a dime.
Yep.
Um, Two things I don't know the size of your account. If you're up 1800 for any reason, th- don't, if you could give half of it back, you're done. Done. And it just, but I don't, but without knowing how much is in your account, what your system is, I, you know, my guess is you're over leveraged. Then you try as code, and I won't repeat what code says, and then you go, realize this: the market doesn't owe you money, doesn't owe me money, doesn't owe anyone money. So what can happen mentally is that you felt that that money was taken away. So
Yep.
I'm going to get it back. It's like when you take a toy away from a child, right? What are you going to do? They're going to protest and they're going to have a tantrum.
Throw a tantrum.
Uh,
Yep.
And I'm not putting that because I've done it. That's really kind of what's happening deep inside of us.
Yeah.
What I will be on the bright side, you've learned a great lesson. Can you come back? Yes, you can. Now you have a reason because it was heart rendering. Go back, understand why you were up. Maybe you shouldn't have been up 1800 because maybe you should have been up 900. But if you have a big day like that, give it half back, go. Because which you can't determine which trade is going to be a winner or a loser.
Yep.
But if you have an edge, it's going to show up over time, not trade to trade. So usually, and this is pay attention now. You know when you're most vulnerable? When you're at your high mark.
You
Yeah,
start. You
ask
start to.
any trader.
You start to think it's you and not your process, and not the markets
Yes.
presenting opportunity. Oh man, I made this amount of money. Well, the markets had to facilitate you making that amount of money. So, uh,
Yeah, it's a gut punch. And, as I liken it to sports, there are certain games, like I've coached for 25 years. There's certain games and certain teams that are, that will, you are either going to learn from it as a team, like it'll be the greatest lesson you ever learned by giving away a big lead and losing, or you're not going to learn from it. You're going to feel like fate took it from you. Good teams realize it and they get better. So think that way. You can get better from this. This is why you're here. Every trader goes through this. Learn from it. Understand, go back to define why you entered every trade. Was it part of a process or was it part of a tailspin? Once you can do that, believe me, if you've learned the lesson, it, it, it shouldn't happen again.
Last thing on that, I see Adiinka says, I followed a setup to catch the 100 points. Funny thing is, I locked out my XFA in green, but won it more after the pullback in my combine. You know, kind of why I don't love trading the multiple accounts where you're spinning plates and feel like you're making progress with all of them, but you're probably going to drop one of them. Focus on the one account, right? And maybe you don't even have to put yourself through that, or you're trying to pass the combine too quick. So uh, consider that as well. So get back to these markets, Coach Paul. We had gold make a new all-time high, 36.40.10 new
Yes, it
all-time
did.
highs in gold. Uh, is this thing just getting started?
How quick do we get to 4,000? I
We
don't know.
are,
It's this is picking up momentum. Um, and look at the volume.
yeah, some decent volume behind it on the daily.
Um, what a week. What is this? How many days in a row now?
One, two, three,
7?
4, 5, 6, 7 days. Yep.
Um, what else is there to say? We've been waiting for it. Um, nice trade. Let's look for it. Look at it. And is there anything else you want to say about the daily?
No. I was talking to Coach, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but with Coach Ray and Hogue this morning, how big of a rally are we really looking for here, right? If we measure some of these moves, there's definitely a better measurement tool than this one that I just used. Is that what I'm looking for? Yeah, there we go. Right. We had a consolidation here. We broke out of this consolidation. Once we broke out of this consolidation, 340 points to the upside. I know Dakota likes to do these, but first we have to ask where we consider us breaking out of this consolidation. I'm going to say these equal highs here, right? That was the kind of high
Yep.
of that consolidation.
That was the breakout there.
Right. So even here, we'll do this, right? We break out of this high. Actually, probably a bigger move. I'm probably doing this terribly. Dakota's better at this than me. But yeah, there's some room. We sat in this consolidation for 130 days. So for us to
One of the
just
ways you can measure it is take the high,
Mhm.
get the on a Fibonacci, the high to the low of the correction,
How to okay, there you go. Yeah,
and then it should give you a 1.618. That 1.618
something
from
like
the low
this.
should be the target. Yeah. Bring it. Yeah, bring it lower. Bring it to the high.
I did it the
There.
wrong way. I did it the wrong way. Hold up, hold
Yeah.
up. Kind of
There.
like that. There we go.
So that blue line we've made the first, that which should be like 1.618.
Yep.
All right, that's the next target. What price is that?
It's up near 38.50.
Yeah. Um, and I mean, just look at this. Uh, who's selling it? We'd have to see some big move like we saw. I mean, reversal like we saw in the last high, and we're not anywhere near that. Can it happen? Yes. But this is a runaway train.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Take a look at it on the 30-minute chart. Uh, Opened up and, find a place to buy it is the call. We had that 30-minute opening range from last night, looked above it during the Asia session. Volume traded above, not the biggest breakout volume in the world. Price action left. Volume didn't really go with it. So we chopped around a lot during that Asia session. But as we came into London and then the New York session, I think you said this yesterday, Coach Paul, looks like New York is buying again. And that is where a lot of that volume, a lot of that move came from. So a really nice movement in gold. Let's take a look at the opening range trade. House account took the 5-minute opening range breakout trade this morning. It was to the long side, and I'm pretty sure we held that trade the entire day because it gave us an opportunity to. Simple mechanical trade. Look at the 5-minute opening range. That's 7:20 a.m. Central Time in gold. If it breaks to the upside, you're long. If it breaks to the downside, you're short. And sometimes it can be that easy. We see how many times we rechecked that 5-minute opening range. Easy to execute, right? Is it easy to hold this trade the entire day for 5 hours up to that high? Maybe if you're not looking at it, you just set your profit target and let it work. But a really nice trade here. What you do get out of this, Coach Paul, is a 2-to-1 for sure.
Oh yeah, it was probably 4-1, but I don't know. Someone could sell it, and to me, if you could sell gold this week, and you're up money,
Hmm.
excuse me, you're a darn good trader. I mean, great trader. Um, I mean, it really takes a lot of skill. You can't just blindly sell it because I don't. I think it's got to stop. Um, but maybe did we get a J trade on the high? No,
No, we did not.
but if you, like I said, hats off to you if you made money this week being a seller of gold. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's a tough market to sell. Tough market to sell. All right. Anything else on gold, Coach Paul?
nothing else.
Nothing else. Take a look at crude oil. Down pretty big today, down 2.56%, 2.81%. Crude is actually making new lows as we speak. Let's take a look at crude on the daily. It looked like it had a chance, but we got to remember this is crude oil. It's not going anywhere fast. What are you seeing on this daily, Coach Paul? I think I lost your audio again.
We took 3 days of rally in about 2 hours, right back into the 200 moving average. Does it hold there? Well, we'll see tonight.
63.44 is that 200 moving average on the daily chart. You can see it. It is pretty much a flat line. It's the white line on my chart here. Pretty much a flat line going across the screen. This market is very range bound, and it has been since we saw that huge sell-off day. Almost, this is starting to look like a gold chart. 72 days that we've been in this range. And we're here until we're not. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. Last night's open. Putting these session breaks on my chart make it a lot easier to find these opens.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, where did the selling come? In merry old London.
London does it again.
Yes, it did. And that was the biggest volume of the night, and we'll talk about a continuation. Now, this is a half an hour. Let's frame that out. Continuation was the biggest volume. It was selling. It took it into new lows for the day. Now, the next candle, we go lower. VWAP is still in that range. Now, here's what I mean. We're still in that. So the sellers are in strong hands. Now, let's go to the next half an hour. And this is another wick that makes a new high. This is important. Now, VWAP hasn't left the range, but that selling is still in control. Nasty wicks. That is the story of crude. Is there ever a candle without a
Man,
wick?
yeah, I mean, this is why we wait. This is why we wait for that close. And maybe we're doing this in hindsight, but these candles did not close above that high. I want to show an example of the Russell as well, where even on a shorter time frame, if you're identifying a range and the market's trading in it, and you don't get that urgency like in this one, maybe these are all no trades, right? Because there's not a lot of confirmation that this market's going anywhere. Once we close outside this range, maybe that's your trade, right? That's showing you where the market is willing to go. Because these wicks, Coach Paul, like you said, they, on both sides.
Yep.
Then we got some OPEC news, and there we go.
I wonder if someone had news about OPEC earlier in the night. Someone, no, they wouldn't do that.
Build a little position to sell, maybe. Wouldn't be the first
Uh-oh.
time. Uh, then we, pretty big selling. That OPEC candle.
Continuation. There's another continuation versus
Yep,
reversal.
another one.
Now, sometimes you'd say that's too much to sell. All right. And if you really want to sell it, what's 50%?
Yeah,
We hit it
you could
to
sell
the
off
tick.
that 50%, or you could risk the 50%. Because that is a lot of risk, right? We're talking about if we get a candle close outside here, uh, and we risk the entire candle, that's a full dollar move in crude oil, which is a lot. Um, which could be a lot. You can trade micros and limit that risk a little bit, but even then, uh, just point wise, that is a lot to give up in crude oil, especially when the daily ATR is like $1.25. Uh, but a
Yeah.
nice rejection off that 50% right there, off that high volume, something that we look at a lot, and another dollar move back to the downside. Pretty nice trading in crude. To anyone trade crude today? Anyone in the chat trade crude oil? Anything else you got on crude, Coach Paul?
Yeah, that's it. Watch that 200-day moving average.
200-day moving average is at 63.43, 63.44. Crude making new lows as we speak. All right, Coach Paul, any other markets we want to talk about today?
Platinum.
Take a
We
look at
talked about
platinum.
gold. Platinum had a big day. We talked about this what was it, a couple days ago. Um, Catch up. Yeah.
Could
Now
be.
it was up $75. Doesn't look like that. That's a pretty big move. Um, let's. It looks like it wants to go to all-time highs in a hurry. We've had the correction. We had the 20 get under the 50 in the moving average, and now it's curling back up, so it's braiding. We're above that. It's also starting to gain some momentum. Now let's look at the half hour.
Take a look at
Digicap, I use the 200 as the main, and the 20 and the 50. Simple moving average, yes. You can use either one. It's really, I choose the simple because I'm a simple guy. So let's let's see what happened last night.
not a whole lot last night. I don't know. I haven't traded platinum in a little bit, but I don't know how
Now
much it trades during the Asia session.
let's put the 200 moving average on that.
We're above it.
So we're above it, and I'm going to go more into this. I'm only looking for some edge to buy it because it's trending higher. If not, I don't want to buy. Go without me. I don't need to be in. Now let's look at what happened at the lows of the night. We had the highest volume of the night, roughly about double the average volume. All right. Now, that's selling exhaustion. Can it turn around? Well, you know the rules. It's got to close above it. And you got to accept that it's not going to make a new low. So you got to frame out that risk. Um,
Coach Paul, I want to ask you something. So this happened at 3 a.m. Eastern time, 2 a.m. Central. I was asleep. I didn't even know markets existed. Got some pretty good sleep. How do you approach, let's say you're looking to trade platinum. How do you
Hmm.
approach a market that is here during your, we'll call it here,
Okay,
is
let's see what
7:30 Eastern time.
7:30.
Yep.
Well, it's 7:30. Is it? What's the official? Is it 7:30 or 7?
I think in platinum it is. I think it's the same as gold. To be honest with you, it might be no. It
Yeah, it
might be
should be.
7. It might be 7.
Oh, let me
How do
see.
how do you approach this market here, right? Because a lot of times we'll talk about this entry, and this is I mean, if you're awake, take that trade. But
Globex day 7:20. All
7:20
right. So let's take everything out. We know we've had that. Let's go start at 7:20,
right here.
which didn't mean anything, did it?
It is no.
I mean, it meant nothing. So let's say I want to buy it on a breakout. Is it a 5 minute?
Yeah, this is a 5 minute
Let's anchor it.
anchor a VWAP to the 5 minute. Here we go. Get volume to leave the range. Price leaves the
We'll
range.
get stopped out. Small loss.
Yep.
How much is that loss?
In platinum, probably $250.
I think it's even. I think it was even less. $5 would be 250.
Yeah, maybe about 175. Not a whole
Let's just
lot.
say 200.
$200. Yep.
All right. There's no micro or mini. Do I want to try it again? Well, let's see the next time VWAP breaks out of the range.
Up here.
Now, can I risk $200 more? Is that within my budget?
Yep. Yeah, could take that
And
trade again, and it's something I feel like a lot of times, sometimes traders will be like, "Oh, well, the move happened overnight, and it's so far away from where my entry is." But I think in this case with platinum, this is just confirming that the downside, at least in that time frame, may have been over. So just looking for decent spots to get into the trade. You can see we bounced off of VWAP, full
that's
session
another
VWAP,
one. Yeah.
right? Where, and I've done this plenty of times as a trader. Well, it's so far from where my entry is, it has to go back there for me to take a trade. So I'm just going to short it. This is what you said. You only take one side if a market is above or below the moving average at 200. That keeps you out of taking this short trade where someone may look to the left and say, "Oh, we have some overnight highs over here. We're rejecting. This is a better short," and it's a decent trade, but the flow is to the upside, and this move here kind of confirms that. So, uh,
What a move.
and it really did confirm it. What a trade! What a move in platinum. Are you keeping this on your scouting report going forward?
Um, yes, I've been watching it now. With that said, you saw that's $200 on a 5 minute was the ante to get in.
Yep.
Um, so you be careful. Know that it's a money contract. And it's so yeah, it'll pay when you're good when it's good, but it's definitely in a buy the dip mode. So I think it's got a great chance of continuation.
Stuff. Good stuff. All right. Any other questions that we have in the chat? I don't see any. Think we got to most of them. Ace wants to know, do I agree with $500 back to funded? I do, Ace. Do I think it's for everyone? I don't. I don't know that everyone should use it. I think depending on how you're going to approach it, and we talked about this early, beginning of the show, if you're going to use it as another chance and not just YOLO the account, then yeah, it's worth it. If you're just going to give $500 to Topstep and blow your account in a couple minutes, then no, it's not worth it. What I really do love, and hopefully anyone who's using this sees it, Uh, if you let's say you blow the account today and then you pay the back to funded, you can't trade it until the next trading day. Um, and I think that that in itself, right, that hasn't been talked about enough, right? Why are we doing that? Because if you lost that XFA, you're probably not in the best mindset, right? Or you're in YOLO mindset, or I need to get it back. And we just talked about earlier, that might not be the best mindset to trade in. So at least if you're going to pay us the money, slow down, trade the next day. Prevent revenge trading. Kevin just said it, right? You don't want a revenge trade with $700, $800. And maybe, if you're looking at that price and saying it's unreasonable, uh, is it the cheapest? No. But it's also not the most expensive, right? Dakota said it earlier. In the 150K account, you're paying $800 for access to $4,500, right? Uh, where you could take the $4,500 and put it in a brokerage account. Of course, there's the top step rules, but I don't think it's for everyone. I think TopStep did it the way that probably benefits the traders the most, because other sim to funded or straight to funded accounts, there is no stop measure there to prevent a trader from just buying an account and blowing it the same day. And some people look at $800 like, oh, it's nothing. I'm going to keep resetting the account. You get two opportunities, and you have to wait before you can trade the account. So I really love the way TopStep did it. And that's just not me being on TopStep's YouTube page. And I think I tweeted about it before. If MP ever does straight to funded, it's going to be way different than every other company. And here you go. So let's see if we start to play follow the leader.
Here's another thing. Do you have to have some skin in the game? I think it prevents you from, just gambling.
Yep.
Because if it was a lot less than that, and I don't think you've really learned the lesson. And sure, I would wish if I were you, it should be cheaper, but it gives you pause. And and also is better than what was there before.
Yeah. Coach Wall, you just made a good point, right? You said you have to have skin in the game. I was in uh, trading mentorship years ago, and there were books that everyone would have on PDF, right? Like Trading in the Zone or all these other books. And someone would come into the chat and they'd be like, "Hey, I got this PDF of these books," and the head of the group would delete them all the time. And he's just like, "Stop giving away other people's free books." And people are like, "Why? These books are so expensive." And he said, "No one's going to retain the information if they don't pay for it.
That's a great point.
If you don't have skin in the game, and if you paid for it, you might respect it a little bit more. So if you're paying up a little bit for these accounts, you may respect the account a little bit more. But we'll see.
7K. I don't think so.
Can I pay the double to get my P&L high back? Yeah, I don't know what that would cost. I don't know what that would cost.
It sounds like well, I'm just gonna leave it there.
Right.
And by the way, you don't have to.
Yep. Not have to. It is only an option. If you want to get back into a combine and pass it in 2 days, use that option. But I would not try to pass combines in 2 days. I got nothing else, Coach Paul. What do you got before we go?
Trade your plan your trade, and I really don't live your life trade to trade. Understand it's a probability over time. With that, keep your accounts and thrive.
Go. Trade well, manage your risk. We will see you all tomorrow. We got Coach Hoop doing a class in Discord in about 15 minutes, and we got Coach Ray and Coach Vince, 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Central Time. Of course, Coach Dakota with Slow Markets tonight at 7:30. I'll be joining Dakota tonight, and we'll be back for the opening call tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so already, and shout out to Bruno for helping us run this session as always.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to silver tomorrow, Bruno. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we'll get to silver tomorrow. Consolidation day today, Bruno. Looks like it has the potential to break out, maybe flagging on a higher time frame, but we will definitely cover that tomorrow. If you trade it, let us know. We'll get to
All
that
right.
tomorrow for you, Bruno. Have a good night, everyone. See you all soon.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.